Okay, I'm going to create the basic Lego brick, and I've done some dimensioning beforehand on this, so I have a pretty good idea. A lot of the dimensions on this are in 1/32 of an inch. So you would think it would be a metric, and some of it is kind of. Um, Oops, not sure what was happening there. I'm going to change this to 3-point faded background, and we'll get started here with our sketch. This is the typical path that you go through when you create a Solidworks solid model. I'll pick the front plane because the Z is up, and that's important to me. I'm going to put my corner in that corner and get started with simple rectangle. I noticed right away that it's in metric, so I need to switch that to options, properties, units, inches, pounds, seconds, and I'm going to give it fairly good tolerancing, four decimals, and then I'll start creating my smart dimensions to define that. You can see that it's not defined because all the lines were blue. The basic brick is 5/8 of an inch by 1.250. 5/8 by 1.25 inches. And so I've done my first sketch. This creates my first item in my history tree right over here on the left. Sketch 1. I've done nothing with it. It's just sitting there in space. I can go home and I can at this point extrude that. I like to extrude away from my Z0. XYZ0 is now in this corner. I'm sorry, this corner. You see the little indicators. And I do know that that height is 0.512. Now I've measured some bricks, and so I'm just going by the classic brick. I've just created my basic block. Next thing I'm going to do is create the bosses. I'm going to sketch. I can select that now, sketch, and it's going to sketch on that plane. So if I hit sketch first, then I would have to select that surface or some reference. So I'm going to just sketch on that, go normal to it, and start dimensioning. I've measured some bricks, and the diameter on that seems to be about 0.192. And I'm machining some right now, and they seem to be working pretty well. So I go to the side here. Once again, these numbers are imperial, so I've got the sketch defined right there. Now, at this point, I can say, okay, to dimensions, I can go up to features and I can extrude that. Go isometric, see which way it's going to go, this way or that way. I want this way, up and away. And I did measure some bricks, and that dimension is 0.072. So I've basically got the bit there. And it is merging it, you see here, it's merging it with this parent block, so it becomes one of it with it. Alright, so I've got my location from the upper corner, and there we go. So protrusion number 1, and I can take this, I've got it selected over here, that boss, and I can pattern it linear. Direction 1, I'm going to pattern along that, not that way, the other way. And those are 5/16 apart. And I do want to do 4 total. Okay. And then the next direction, it dropped down to direction 2, would be in along this. parallel to it, I guess you could say. And that dimension is 5/16, and we're going to do 2 the other direction. Okay. All right. So now I've got the basic top here. I can select this, go normal to it, and I can sketch on that. What do features? Now I'm going to just shell it first and take care of that. So that face is selected already, so face 1. The distance, the wall seems to be about 0.625 or 1/16 of an inch. And shell outward, shell inward. We'll see what we do there. Okay, so it shelled everything, including up into the bosses right here. So you could kind of look at that, and you could section through somewhere. You kind of see what I'm talking about there. So you can see that it gave it a 1/16 wall all the way through, and these are on the plastic parts, and that's basically for injection molding. You want uniform wall thickness. Okay, so I'll get rid of the section. And now, next thing I want to do, normal to this, and I'm going to draw on that surface, sketch the 3 bosses that are in here. And once again, I think those are, I can just draw a couple of things in there. When I delete that, we'll dimension this one first. We'll smart dimension it, and that seems to be about 0.1875, 3/16, and I want that to be centered on 5/8, so 5/16, and from center again to here, 5/16, and check that. I'm going to put another one on here. This is 0.254, oops, divided by 2. Radius, it says radius down here. You can smart dimension, or you can dimension when you create it. So that should be completely defined. Everything's black. Okay, so I've sketched on that bottom right there, and then I'm going to create a feature. I'm going to extrude that upwards, and I can drag this handle. I've got kind of an indicator along it. But I know that the distance on that was 0.4495. I'm going to try that, see what happens. Oh, that failed. Okay. All right, I'm going to go with a number. And I am going to merge that all. I'm not going to merge that because I'm going to pattern that as well. Okay, so I'm going to take that, pattern it, and I'm going to go along this direction, the other direction, and I need just 3 of them total. And it defaulted to 3,125 distance, and that is 5/16 of an inch. It just had that in there from the last. You can see direction and spacing, so I think that'll be good. So that is your basic Lego brick. Now, one thing I did notice when I was machining is that in my CAM package I can corner around, but I'm getting a very sharp corner, and really the Legos have a very small fillet on them. looks like about 5 thousandths. I don't really have any way to measure that exactly, but I'm going to put it on there because when I take it to my CNC, um, there we go. All right, so that's the basic Lego brick, and looks complete.